bifocals. All right, we're back on the record. We're in the presence of the jury. Mr. Bahena is present along with the attorneys of record. Ms. Scott, I want to remind you, you're still under oath. Mr. Freeze, you may continue with your cross-examination of this witness.
Thank you. So, Ms. Scott, item 58, after review of your notes, review of your records, is it possible to tell any identifiers of the contributors of the two DNA profiles?
Are we talking about item 58?
Item 58.
So on the 4 samples that I took from that, we do what's called, on every sample I do what's called a quant, which estimates the amount of DNA in the sample. It also estimates the amount of male DNA in the sample. So on those 4 samples, they all had very small indications of male DNA.
Okay, now can any of that information include or exclude Cristhian Bahena Rivera?
It cannot include or exclude anybody still.
Item 59, we know for a fact, I mean, if we can accept 1 out of 2.19 million as a fact, which I'm willing to accept, okay. That Mollie Tibbetts' DNA is in that area of the trunk, right?
Yes.
But we also know they're a mixture of 2 other people in addition to that DNA, right?
Yes.
We just don't know who.
Correct.
So in one area of the trunk, we have a mixture of 2 DNA, and now in this area of the trunk, we have a mixture of 3 persons' DNA, one of which we know is Mollie Tibbetts, right?
Yes.
We do not know if it's Cristhian Bahena, right?
Correct.
Can we exclude him?
No, I can neither include or exclude.
Okay. And then you tried to test, or did test, 2 other areas, items 60 and 61. And what were the conclusions there again?
Those are also 2 weak.
So Mollie Tibbetts' DNA was not there.
I was not able to determine, there's 2 weak for conclusive interpretation, so I cannot include or exclude anybody.
Very well. One final thing. The stain, the blood stain on the trunk gasket, you recall seeing the picture up on the television screen, right?
Yes.
It was shown there with a ruler, if you will, for scale, right?
Yes.
The size of that stain was quite small, was it not?
Depends on what you're comparing to. I don't know.
Okay. Was it the ruler on the display was a ruler that showed a couple centimeters, right?
Yeah, it was 3, yes.
Okay. And the stain was less than 3 centimeters, correct?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, I'll let the picture speak for itself. I have nothing further.
Mr. Brown, you may redirect.
Ms. Scott, Mr. Freeze asked you about obtaining certain DNA profiles from items that were found in the cornfield, including the body of Mollie Tibbetts.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and get a drink. Can you explain to the jury what causes DNA to degrade?
Heat, UV rays, and soil has been shown to be an inhibitor to DNA.
Okay, and whenever we say that DNA becomes degraded, what does that mean to you as a DNA analysis?
So when I'm trying to do...
And, I'm sorry, as a DNA analyst.
That's right. So when it is degraded, it starts breaking down. So it starts with the bigger pieces, and then so eventually you get down to the point where I can't detect the DNA anymore, or it's so weak that I can't say, I might say it's too weak.
So the during the autopsy of Mollie Tibbetts, they'd taken swabs from her thighs and between her legs, correct?
Yes.
Is that the reason why you can't even obtain Mollie Tibbetts' DNA from her own body?
That could be a contributing factor, yes. Definitely. Excuse me.
It's okay. And last thing here. State's Exhibit 46.
Did you say 46?
46.
Yes,
All right. You were provided a known DNA profile of Mollie Tibbetts, correct?
yes,
And you tested this particular area of blood here in State's Exhibit 46, correct?
yes, it's screen positive for blood.
There were no other contributors to this blood other than a single person.
I was developed a single source profile, correct, that matched Molly.
Okay. And this particular blood stain matched the DNA of Mollie Tibbetts.
Yes,
All right. The hang on. We haven't shown the jury State's Exhibit 47. Is this the same stain inside the trunk that we saw in previous photos?
yes,
50 or 47 and 48?
yes,
Okay. You took a DNA profile from this particular area of the trunk, is that correct?
yes,
That DNA profile was consistent with the known DNA profile taken from Mollie Tibbetts. Is that your testimony?
yes. The major profile was consistent with her, yes.
That's all. I don't have anything further.
Mr. Freeze, do we have anything else with this witness?
Briefly.
Okay.
The picture of item 46, the blood on the trunk gasket, DNA won't tell us how it got there, right?
Correct,
Won't tell us if it was transferred there, will it?
will not,
Will not tell us if it was dropped there, right?
correct,
Won't tell us if it was scraped on there, right?
correct,
Just tells us what it is.
yes.
I have nothing further.
Mr. Brown, are we done with this witness?
We are.
Okay. Ms. Scott, thank you for being here. You're excused. You may
Thank you.
Step down. We can go ahead and go to the hallway. Members of the jury, that concludes our work for the week. We will be in recess until 8:30 on Monday morning. Now, with that said, I want to talk to you a little bit about the weekend as it relates to you, and by segue of that, I'll share with you a little bit about my weekend. So, much to the chagrin of my daughters, my family will be traveling both Saturday and Sunday, 4 hours round trip, to watch my son play baseball. And I'm pointing out to you that, yes, even during the trial, I will continue in my role as the oldest first base coach in the history of Iowa youth baseball. So why I tell you that is that you're not homebound, you're not cloistered. We understand that you want to go on with your life, and that's fine. You can do, to a certain extent, what you would normally do on a given weekend. But you do have to remember and honor your admonition that was given to you at the outset of the trial. And for those reasons, I'm going to go back over and highlight a few things that I think are relevant to you as you head into the weekend. Under your oath as jurors in this cause, you are admonished that it is your duty not to permit any person to speak or communicate with you on any subject connected with the trial of this case. You are not to talk with any of the parties, their attorneys, or their witnesses during the trial, even upon matters wholly unrelated to this trial. Should anyone try to discuss the case with you or in your presence, you should not listen to the conversation and should immediately walk away. If a person should persist in speaking to you, try to find their name and report it to the court. You are also admonished not to converse amongst yourselves or with anyone, including family members, on any subject connected with the trial of this cause. You should not form or express an opinion on this case until you have retired to your jury room to deliberate. You should keep an open mind until you have heard all the evidence, the statements and arguments of counsel, the instructions of the court, and until the case is finally submitted to you for your deliberations. Not only must your conduct as jurors be above reproach, but you must avoid the appearance of any improper conduct. You must avoid reading, listening to, or watching news accounts of this trial, if there should be any, for sometimes such accounts are based upon incomplete information or contain matters which would not be admissible in court and could unduly influence your ultimate decision. You may not visit or investigate the scene of this occurrence unless directed to do so by the court. As the jury, you are the judge of the facts. The court is the judge of the law. During the course of this trial, I may be required to decide questions of law, and before you leave to deliberate this case, you will be instructed as to the law you are to follow in reaching your verdict. So again, I've not given the admonition again in its entirety. You are bound by it in its entirety. But again, reemphasizing those points hopefully gives you some guidance for the weekend. Leave your notebooks where they are. They'll be collected and held by the court attendant over the weekend, and they'll be redistributed to you on Monday morning. Again, we are back here at 8:30 Monday morning. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you then. Thanks. We're in recess.